A reading from the book of Genesis, chapter 15. God's covenant with Abram. After these things, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. Fear not, Abram, I am your shield. Your reward shall be very great. But Abram said, O Lord God, what will you give me? For I continue childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus. And Abram said, Behold, you have given me no offspring, and a member of my household will be my heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him. This man shall not be your heir, your very own son shall be your heir. And he brought him outside and said, Look toward heaven and number the stars. If you are able to number them, then he said to him, So shall your offspring be. And he believed the Lord, and he counted it to him as righteousness. And he said to him, I am the Lord who brought you out from Ur of the Chaldeans, to give you this land to possess. But he said, O Lord God, how am I to know that I shall be possess how am I to know that I should possess it? He said to him, Bring me a heifer 3 years old, a female goat 3 years old, a ram 3 years old, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he brought him all these, cut them in half, and laid each half over against the other. But he did not cut the birds in half. And when birds of prey came down on the carcasses, Abram drove them away. As the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell on Abram, and behold, dreadful and great darkness fell upon him. Then the Lord said to Abram, Know for certain that your offspring will be sojourners in a land that is not theirs, and will be servants there, and they will be afflicted for 400 years. But I will bring judgment on the nation that they serve, and afterward they shall come out with great possessions. As for you, you shall go to your fathers in peace. You shall be buried in a good old age. And they shall come back here in the 4th generation. For the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete. When the sun had gone down, and it was dark, behold, a smoking fire pot and a flaming torch passed between these pieces. On that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, To your offspring I give this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, the land of the Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Rephaim, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, and the Jebusites. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Now in this chapter, we see how God blesses Abram again to say that his descendants were going to be really numerous. A couple of chapters ago, God compared the descendants of Abraham to the dust of the earth. I mean, if you could just imagine even just the sand, each little sand particle is like millions and millions and trillions, gazillions. That's how many descendants Abram is going to have on earth. And so here he compares his descendants to the stars in the skies. And we all know that there's galaxies beyond galaxies beyond galaxies, and we don't know where the universe ends, but more and more stars are identified, and the universe is very vast, too vast. I know there's a new James Webb Hubble telescope that's been capturing a lot more images, and they're actually very beautiful to look at. So once again we see how God promises Abram millions and trillions of descendants, and yet Abram can't help but just see his own reality, and that is that he doesn't even have one child, and God is promising him that he's going to have trillions of descendants. It's like, come on, I need some proof now. And God gave him a sign. He said to bring him some animals so that he can um, basically offer them up. And what was it that he said? Bring me a heifer, a female goat, and a turtle dove and a young pigeon. And he split the heifer and the goat in half, but not the turtle dove and the pigeon. And he laid them on what I imagine was an altar, and he offered them up to the Lord. Um, and then God, in a mysterious way, passes by um, as a. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, in verse 17, when the sun had gone down and it was dark, behold, a smoking fire pot and a flaming torch passed between these pieces. So these pieces of animal were basically accepted by the Lord God in the form of a smoking fire pot, and a flaming torch. And I don't know why, he split the two animals in half, and they had to be 3 years old, both the heifer and the goat, and yet the birds he didn't cut in half. I don't understand why, but God accepted it anyway, um, and He promised Abraham that he would come to live to a good old age, and he would be buried in peace. But He also made it clear to him that his descendants were going to live uh, under oppression uh, for many years. Let me see how many. See if I can find it. Oh yeah, on verse 13, the Lord said to Abram, "Know for certain that your offspring will be sojourners in a land that is not theirs, and will be servants there, and they will be afflicted for 400 years." So God knows the end from the beginning, so He already knows how long the descendants of Abraham were going to be living as sojourners, basically as foreigners in a foreign land, just doing servile work, like slaves. As we know, the Israelites were treated as slaves under the Egyptian Empire, and they used to make their bricks for them and build their monuments and stuff. But that was 400 years. I mean, that's at least 4 generations, if not more. But that He was promising him that after that they would possess a lot of land. But before that, there needed to be a. This is the part that kind of catches my attention. It said that, um, and they shall. He's talking about Abraham's descendants, and verse 16. And they shall come back here in the fourth generation, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete. So, what I understand is that God intervenes in a very divine and almighty powerful way only when He sees the iniquity of the people has become full. Now, in this case, it's the Amorites. And He saw that the iniquity of the Amorites had not yet become full. But once it does become full, then God works in a major way, just like He did with Moses taking out God's people from Pharaoh and made him cross the Red Sea in a very awesome biblical way. Now, if I translate that to current days, I definitely could see that God has been patient with this generation of Americans for years now, for decades. And according to what I've been listening to prophets like Robin Bullock and others, but especially him, I get the sense that the iniquity of not just Americans, but Americans too, and especially the Democratic Party, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Obama, all of them, have basically been doing the devil's work for years, and it all kind of started back even way before them. But they're basically the more aggressive ones in this current times that we're living in. But you could probably say that Satan kind of took control of the government back when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. Maybe even before then. But definitely then, they had taken the reins. And they've basically been having their way since then, playing with the minds of the masses. Voter fraud and all kind of things. And making us believe that, Republicans and Democrats are against each other when sometimes they're just two wings of the same crooked, evil bird. And just coming to mind a lot of things that I've been listening to the prophets speak about. And I do believe something biblical is about to happen. And I think that the iniquity of all the nations with this coronavirus that was unleashed all over the world, and all the evil people, the elite that have been orchestrating all this, Bill Gates. I'm sure they're all gonna have their day of reckoning real soon. And God didn't intervene, but now I think He's about to. I could be wrong, but I can feel it deep within myself that I'm not wrong. That I do believe the prophets. I do believe God is speaking through Prophet Robin Bullock and Prophetess Julie Green, and others. And this is going to be incredible. And when it's all said and done, people will know that it was God Himself who brought justice to this earth, and that there is only one living God, Jesus Christ. And so I kind of went off on a tangent there, but felt like it needed to have been said. And I think there could be a lot of ties to, the third secret of Fatima, to what I'm talking to also. Something that the Catholic Church has been trying to keep under wraps, and or maybe even manipulated or reworded it completely. Who knows? But we're about to see, and I think we're getting to that boiling point now. I mean, we see Russia really just going ham on Ukraine, and now all these other NATO allies are trying to take United States to partake against going to war against Russia. And who knows, this could get even uglier and worse with nuclear bombings in very key places. And so I think I'll just retrack a little bit to the beginning of chapter 15 also, where the very first verse actually, where he says, "After these things the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. Fear not, Abram, I am your shield. Your reward shall be very great." The word of the Lord, thanks be to God. That right there, I mean, if I just take that verse and make it my own, like I'm gonna be blessed, like very, very blessed, just to be counted among the stars in the skies that belong to Abram. And I see how even though God speaks these magnificent blessings and promises of a very rewarding future, sometimes we could only see this far, like our reality. I'm broke, I got bills to pay, I got things coming up that I don't know how I'm going to resolve, family matters, personal issues, battling personal demons, all kind of things, just going to work and having to do the whole work routine and deal with people left and right and one's own altering mood. It's just it's kind of hard to just point blank accept the Lord's blessing without speaking of everything that we feel bogged down with. But lo and behold, God is greater, and for God nothing is impossible. In Jesus' name, God bless you all. Amen.